Hey Dad, can I help you with the water change? I need the water change.
Hey guys, I'm making this video today to kind of document the steps I go through when I do water changes. Now, I know there's a lot of apartment reefers there, people that have reef tanks in apartments, and it's a little bit different for us because we don't have the space. We're kind of in confined spaces. So, with water changes for me, I don't have a permanent place for my RODI system. So I have to break it down, move stuff around whenever, I want to do water changes or make a batch of water. So in this, I'm going to go through, some of the major steps I take when I'm doing water changes. So I hope you enjoy. The first thing is I keep a couple of these 20-gallon brew trash cans on my fire escape. Now the fire escape is out of the way, it's behind the building. No one really goes behind there, so it doesn't really, kind of bother anybody. So I still keep enough space where if someone is coming down the fire escape, there's still room, but this is the best place to keep it. At least this is for me. So I keep a couple of these on the fire escape and I just simply pull them in when I need them. Now, because they're on the fire escape, of course, I have to give them a quick rinse before I use them. So I usually do that in the shower. Just, run some water on it, put my hands inside and rinse it out for a little bit. I usually pump some water through the hose I use, just to clean it out in case any, rainwater or anything. You don't want anything to contaminate your tank. So a quick rinse is always good. I keep my RODI system in my food pantry. I made a couple of shelves to keep my stuff, my test kits, my reefing gear, my medication, some of my quarantine stuff. So this is a nice compact area, keeps the wife happy, and I have a place to keep my stuff. Always lay down a towel before I put the RODI system down. This helps me to spot leaks as soon as they happen. So if I just had the counter and put the RODI system, if there were any leaks, I wouldn't learn about it until later. So the towel, when I see the blue color of the towel start changing, I know there's a leak and I know something is, something's there, something needs my attention. So I try to I can't afford any leaks. So I usually try to take care of anything as soon as it happens. Now, I have to use a booster pump with my RODI system. Now, I live on the 3rd floor of an apartment building, and the pressure would just be simply too low. It would take me too long to fill that 20-gallon container if I don't use a booster pump. So I have to use a booster pump to get any kind of decent performance from my RODI system. Here's some evidence of the difference that the booster pump makes. Now, without the booster pump, I get about 30 psi. And that's going to take me anywhere from 4 to 6 or 7 hours to fill that 20-gallon container, depending on the water temperature. So the water temperature also makes a difference. So coming up here, as I turn on the booster pump, you'll see the difference, and the pressure is going to go to maybe 90 psi. And that can take me, I've gotten I filled that 20-gallon container in about 2 hours before. And, the temperature could affect it a little bit, but that's considerable savings for me, time savings for me. Instead of it being an all-day affair, I can have the water ready to mix the salt water in just a couple of hours. Here's how the water comes out. So this is without the booster pump, where it's a trickle, and as I turn the booster pump on, you can see there's just more water flowing. And again, over time, the performance, and depending on the temperature of the water, the performance of the RODI system can, increases. So this shortens the time. It's important for me to use a booster pump. So some of you guys should, really look into a booster pump. I think I bought that one for eBay for about $60, but BRS has them, has better quality ones. The one I had was really cheap because I just wanted to test it, but there are better quality booster pumps out there. I have a couple of AC power heads hanging around. I think this is a Tunze 6045, so I usually just drop it in, plug it in, leave it running, and it does a good job of mixing the salt water, mixing my salt water thoroughly for me. I have an idea of how much salt it takes to mix to 1.025, 1.026. So I usually add that pre-mixed amount of salt. I have the Brewing Trash Can marked. I don't fill it all the way up to the top. So once I add that amount of salt, then I add a heater to get it up to 78, 79 degrees. So add the salt, then put the heater in, set the heater. Then I leave it mixing overnight. I push it in a corner, right under a table, right under my table. Got two kids running around, can't afford anybody to trip over it or bump it and spill salt water. That has happened a couple of times before. It's not fun. The cleanup is not fun. So I usually put it in a corner, leave it, the salt water mixing overnight. When I get up first thing in the mornings, before I watch Liverpool games, I test the salinity. I use my Milwaukee digital refractometer. Most of the times my measurements are on point. Let me see what the measurement is here. Got to change the batteries. Should be 1.025, 1.026. I'm usually not off. I'm usually spot on. So 1.025. So yep, water is ready to go into the system, ready for the water change.
Yep, right now.
While doing the water change, it's a good idea to go ahead and do any kind of cleaning inside the tank that I need to do. So here I hadn't cleaned the glass for a couple of days, so I'm just taking the opportunity to use my algae scraper to scrape off some of the tough algae, and then I use a turkey baster to blow some detritus out of the rock. So it's not something I do every time because I have a lot of flow in my tank, but since the tank was a little extra dirty this time, so I just took the opportunity to just, get a little bit extra cleaning in. This is hard work. Still not done, but it's looking better. I connect a maxi jet pump connected to 3/8, I think it's 3/8 tubing, and do a run all the way from the living room all the way across the apartment to the bathroom. That's how I pump the salt water out of the tank. Now I have this valve in the middle. This allows me quick disconnect. I don't want to drag the container with the salt water back all over the apartment, so that allows me to cut when I'm putting good salt water back. So this is it, goes in this container. This container here just fills and overflows into my tub, but sometimes I'll take out too much water. So this is kind of a 5-gallon reserve in case, I took out too much water. I can just take some of that salt water that I've been pumping out, go get that bucket and just, get it back to the exact, salinity. It's just a backup. It rarely happens, but it's happened before. So this is just, a precaution. Once I've finished pumped empty the salt water, the old salt water out of the tank, this is where this little valve comes in handy. So this Brewing Trash Can, it slides easy, it's on wheels, it slides easy when you're on floors, but I do not want to take it on the carpet because bad things have happened before. So that's why this quick connect right in the middle is easy. So I just slide it on the floor right here, disconnect, and then put the maxi jet here. And that way I'll just pump water back into the tank from right here. I don't have to drag it on the carpet. So here's the water going back into the sump area. This entire process takes me anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. It really depends on, I'm usually not doing this alone. I'm usually watching a soccer game. Usually do this on Saturday mornings, and during the Premier League season, this takes, a lot more time because I'm usually, doing something else. So pumping the freshly mixed salt water back. Water change has been finished, pumps have been turned back on, equipment checked, everything looking clean. Now I have to clean, pack everything back up, and put it back in storage on the fire escape. So I'm packing up the cables. I keep cables, the pumps, the bucket, everything that basically I need to do a water change. I also keep some of my quarantine stuff in this brew trash can, so all of that goes back in and goes back out on the fire escape. And that's it, guys. I would like to hear your comments below on what I could be doing that's different. I would also like to hear from you guys who live in an apartment and how your process is different. Maybe we can learn something from each other. So I look forward to reading and responding to the comments. A couple of you on the live stream have, mentioned that, hey, why don't you just pump the water out the window? And believe me, I've thought about it a couple of times, but in the end, I'm not gonna do it. But this is one of the reasons I decided to transition to the Triton method, because Triton method, the prospect of little to no water changes is really intriguing. So I'll be able to, with the exception of refilling my ATO maybe every 2 weeks, the prospect of no water changes is really intriguing. So thanks, guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment.